Yeah, it is a lot of fun. And, Advanced Warfare ushered in the exoskeleton, and that was really listening to fans. Fans wanted innovation. Whether you want to admit it now, at that time you wanted it, and it was a lot of fun for us to bring that to life.
I gotta say,
and
it was fun.
No, it was fun.
It is fun, but this is
now,
like a different experience.
Now fans want to go back to boots on the ground.
Hello YouTube, my name is Nero. Today we have some more Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, and that quote from Michael Condrey came at this year's E3 during the Sledgehammer Games press event, which was actually hosted by Afrojack. It got a little bit awkward there, a little bit of interrupting and stuff like that, but Michael Condrey made a very interesting point. You could construe that as him calling out the entire Call of Duty community, but honestly, I feel as though what he said was true, and I wanted to discuss that a little bit here in this video. As game developers, their job is to try to make as many people happy as possible, so as many people buy their game as possible and buy their game's DLC, and they can succeed as a business. Back then, people wanted innovation. They really did. And if you started out with like Black Ops 2 or Modern Warfare 3 or Ghost, maybe you didn't really hear those same complaints as I did, but I had been playing the game since Call of Duty 4. I had been listening to the community. I've always had my finger on the pulse of the COD community, even before I was a YouTuber. And for years, people were always complaining COD is the same game every single year. They do nothing to innovate. And I mean, Advanced Warfare was what, the 11th Call of Duty game to ever come out? So I feel as though Activision and Sledgehammer, they sat down, they're like, look, you guys have been helping out with a couple of Call of Duty games now. You are going to be the third studio, and we're going to do something big for your first game ever. At the time, the gaming landscape was very much different. Popular games such as Titanfall were out. Destiny was either coming out or had already been released. One of the two. Destiny was around at the time, and a lot of games were going up to space. A lot of games had that very heavy science fiction theme. So they settled on Advanced Warfare. They settled on doing a game that was really much different than anything we'd ever seen before. I mean, we had exosuits, right? They really did a lot in terms of innovation for that game. And did it succeed? I think it did, honestly, because Advanced Warfare, despite what we see online of people saying that everybody hates exosuits, I mean, it was the best-selling game that year. It outsold every other game. They had a series of advanced games, right? Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, both of which did very well. Black Ops 3 was the best-selling game of 2015. Infinite Warfare outsold Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 combined. Like, this was supposed to be the year that EA made that big push to knock Call of Duty off its throne, but it didn't really work. I mean, if any game did, it was Overwatch, but we don't even have the official numbers because Blizzard won't release the Battle.net digital sales. But still, Infinite Warfare did pretty well. Black Ops 3 did pretty well. Despite community perception or what you see online, they did all right. I mean, they really did. And now they're going full circle, taking the series back to its roots. It's been so long since we've had the traditional same old Call of Duty that everybody's actually craving it. And now they can go back to the same old. In a weird way, I feel as though the advanced games were a necessary chapter in the history of Call of Duty, because now they can go back to the old style without people complaining that the game is the same every single year. And of course, Call of Duty can always innovate, right? We have so many possibilities that have yet to be explored, like a full-fledged, dedicated Vietnam game, a Korean War game. I mean, if Treyarch wants to do World War II with their game as well, they could very easily focus it on the Pacific Theater and have it feel completely different than what we're going to see with Sledgehammer's version of a World War II game. Then, of course, you have Infinity Ward, who could potentially like do Modern Warfare 4. They could do so many different things. I mean, we also have the entire idea of remasters. Modern Warfare Remastered, let's face it, was handled probably as poorly as it possibly could have been. But even then, I think some people still want remasters, and Call of Duty has such a rich backlog of great games and characters and stories that I imagine at some point they are going to be revisited. The future of the Call of Duty series is definitely pretty bright in my opinion, but going back to Michael Condrey's point here, they're trying their best, right? They really do want people to be happy with their game, and they took the feedback that COD's the same game every single year, and maybe they saw the decline, right? I mean, you had Black Ops 2 and you had Call of Duty Ghosts, both of which were pretty popular, but that was like the decline of the Call of Duty series. The big peak was Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 3. Those were the most popular games. And ever since then, the series has started to dwindle down a little bit every single year. And maybe they saw that decline. They're like, all right, let's try something different here. We've kind of peaked with this old style. We're going to try something new. And honestly, I think it paid off. I mean, they weren't my favorite games. Don't get me wrong, especially like Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare. Like these are not my favorite Call of Duty games of all time, especially compared to the previous ones. But I think what happened is, as you guys know, Call of Duty has this 3-year development cycle, and they have to try to predict these trends several years in advance, and they were seeing what was happening with Titanfall and the buzz around that, and then of course Destiny and all the other games that were going up into space. I bring up the examples, but like even Civilization went to Beyond Earth. You know, that was just like the landscape at the time. That's what games were doing. And they went on board. They tried to incorporate as much community feedback as possible, try something different, actually innovate. And to some people, it really paid off. To other people, it didn't pay off whatsoever, and they quit the series. But they tried something different based off of that community feedback, and now, also based off community feedback, they're taking the series back to its roots. And so I thought that was definitely a very interesting topic of discussion. I recorded this as it happened live. I didn't post it or anything like that, because I feel as though not a lot of actual good information came out of that particular conference, especially with Afrojack there. Like, he very clearly plays Call of Duty, but doesn't know a ton about it, so the interview was like kind of awkward at times and stuff like that. But I definitely thought that quote from Michael Condrey was very interesting, and I wanted to incorporate it somehow into a video, and that's what I decided to do today, is do a little bit of a discussion about how fan feedback may not necessarily always be the best feedback in the world. Like, we can all give our feedback, but it's not necessarily going to translate well into a game. Like, if I were to be hired to be the new head honcho at Treyarch and make all sorts of changes for, you know, their next game, chances are a lot of you guys aren't going to like my game, because I have very strong opinions about where Call of Duty needs to be and what should happen within the game, and that doesn't necessarily line up with everybody else. I mean, the core mission statement, I suppose, as a game developer is to make the game as appealing as possible to as many people as possible, and that's all they ever try to do. That's what they try to do with Advanced Warfare. That's what they're going to be trying to do with Call of Duty World War II, and I'm excited to see how it's going to work out for them in the long run. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you guys here in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section below, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.